Welcome to Combat Mission Shock First 2, where First Squad of 1st Platoon has been tasked with conducting an area point reconnaissance upon NAI Foxtrot, named area of interest. I have been afforded the squad itself, consistent of 3 fire teams, split between 2 reconnaissance elements and a support by fire element, and an attached sniper team for long-range observation and possible engagement if necessary. In addition to these elements, company support has provided us with a 2-tube 81mm murder team established within their area defense approximately 1 kilometer out from the AO Hawk. The enemy force here consists of an estimate Syrian regular army. The Syrian force itself should prove reasonably unconcerning given their poor spotting capabilities and inferior training, as is typical, and our primary concerns derive from the terrain and troop positioning itself. The NAI is a relatively contiguous and equally homogeneous coniferous forest, consistent of varied terrain with a few pieces of key terrain upon the edge of the in-game map. Upon the western and eastern edges of the map are 2 MSRs, of which both run south to north before continuing external to the AO. Both roads are relatively distant from our actual objective. Based on our force's initial position just east of the western MSR, we should be able to avoid them with little difficulty. Similar may be assumed in regards to the ODA within the northern side of the AO, making it virtually irrelevant to our mission. On the other hand, the large crest dominating the northwestern side of the map could prove problematic if occupied by enemy positions, as it serves to act as an ideal route for future reconnaissance by Recce elements to maneuver around and develop. Either A, we maneuver around the northwestern to direct west of the objective and attempt to observe the enemy through close-range reconnaissance techniques, or B, move east upon the southern flank of the enemy to bypass their position and conduct long-range reconnaissance from the hills. Both options have advantages and disadvantages. Option A will easily be the most expedient of the two, whilst B will minimize risk to the first, just given the distance. I've opted to perform an amalgamation of the two, initiating a long-range reconnaissance through use of option A with my sniper team by virtue of established RP just west of their position prior to pushing a reconnaissance team to the east of the RP to improve sight lines directly across the lake as necessary. Okay. So today we'll be trying something somewhat unique. Welcome to Combat Mission Shock First 2. Today we'll be going through an area point reconnaissance. To perform this, we've been given 1 platoon. We're about to get into the briefing in a moment, but for now, let's talk about a few things regarding what needs to be done within this sort of operation. So when we will look at almost any operation, right, so we have to start with troop leading procedures. We have to understand what our mission is to start. So it's going to be receive the mission. Then we have to start creating our tentative plan. In this case, it's not as there isn't a necessity in which we are required to develop a RNO in this case, as we can immediately provide any objectives we have defined and courses of action to our troops immediately. So a lot of this is going to come down to analysis, intelligence, preparation of the battlefield, and understanding of the environment and enemy, which is in a sense intelligence, preparation of the battlefield. So to start off, let's look at our actual mission. So you can read through this here, but to summarize things, we have 1 platoon level reconnaissance element, which is going to consist of your 3 squads, your security squad, Assault 1, Assault 2, and your MG team. Right? So that's typically 2 MMGs, medium machine guns, which are M240 Bravos in this case, if you're using the U.S. Army. As far as enemy force is concerned, we have what's expected to be Syrian Army infantry. Right? We're looking at approximately 1 times infantry platoon by the lake, which we're about to define on the map in a moment once we get into terrain analysis. We also have access to an 81mm murder section, which it may be valuable if we are to break contact or want to invoke some form of damage prior to our exfiltration. And again, when it comes to reconnaissance, it isn't exactly necessary to maintain complete stealth. You can still hurt the enemy whilst conducting reconnaissance. Whether that is facilitated within the situation is dependent, but in this case we're here with the intention of observing the enemy and understanding what that enemy is doing within this space. And this information is more of being acquired to understand how we can take this enemy and remove them from the space in which we found them. So conducting some sort of indirect fires upon their position as a form of spoiling attack would be fine in this case. If you're doing this on an area defense or something else of that nature, you wouldn't necessarily want to conduct attacks prior to that of your main assault, as that's going to allow the enemy to shift their forces and make any information you have gained less valuable. This information does have an expiration date, and that allows the enemy to immediately understand that you have gained that information and reduce its validity. So, in some cases, you want to surreptitious reconnaissance. Obviously, we don't want to engage in direct fires here, as we may have the forces or may not have the forces to do so. So here we have our mission statement. That's going to be Commander's intent. Fireteam Alpha will conduct an area point reconnaissance on NAI, that's named Area of Interest Hawk, no later than NLT 0700, with the intention of improving current intelligence upon enemy composition and disposition. So effectively, we're performing an area point reconnaissance to gain an understanding of the enemy first. We have to do it by 0700, which is going to be the time allocated within the actual mission time and combat mission. Upon this NAI, we have a few additional objectives which we could also check out as necessary. We have CCIRs, Commander's Intent. Right, so we have a few bits of information we want to acquire here. So we want to understand the enemy first composition, again defined here. This just extrapolates upon that. And we want to determine the enemy first's ability to conduct counter reconnaissance. So we're effectively bringing our reconnaissance forces up to determine as what's going to happen to that first. So we'll see how much resistance we're provided or afforded by the enemy. Okay, so we have a relatively simplistic area reconnaissance upon a space. As we conduct this reconnaissance, it's important to understand how the enemy is able to affect our forces and how we can maneuver and position our forces to reduce the effects of the enemy and ensure that the enemy hopefully will not be able to even observe us within the first place, as we do not want to be engaged decisively. Okay, so start things off. We have to set up our units, which have all been set up for us. So right now we have our 2 TRPs out here. They have been placed without our understanding, one of which is upon the road, likely with the intention of interdicting any Cura forces reported, and a secondary TRP upon this hill. I'm assuming the purpose of that was to suppress that enemy position if we were to maneuver from the south here, which we're about to get into in a moment, because this terrain dominates the space in which we have predicted the enemy to be located within. So, as far as the enemy's position is concerned, this is going to be our NAI here, right by this lake. On its eastern side, we can actually see some, looks like, trenches here. So the enemy may be dug in. These are highly questionable for trenches. Typically you want to have some turns on them. You want something separating your men as well. That aside, let's see. So we can immediately assume an enemy first is within this position. Generally when it comes to determining an ideal position for a patrol base, you're going to want a position that is not strategically valuable to the enemy, out of sight, out of sound, and relatively easy to find. This is certainly easy to locate, but the position itself is rather questionable given just the sheer amount of terrain we have to manipulate in order to gain eyes on this position and possibly conduct future assaults separate from this operation. So zooming out for a moment, let's look at the actual map. So first thing to always do is intelligence preparation, battlefield, and terrain analysis, right? So I can immediately see two roads. We have one on the southern side, which forks off, splits into one continuing to move eastward, which then breaks within a bit of forest here. The southern road continuing downwards and out of our map area, or our area of operations, outside of combat mission terms. And another road which works southeast. Should note there are some craters on this road. Looks like either ourselves or the enemy. I'm not certain here. We do not have the information necessary to determine this, but some murder barrages have been conducted upon this road, likely to reduce the effectiveness of these avenues of approach, notably with this. That's something actually kind of looks like a JDAM crater. Might have taken out some vehicle here or something of that nature. We have something similar with these. Yep. Interesting. Okay. And we have something similar upon the northern side of the map with another road. This one's a bit nicer. Actually paved. This one moves from the north of the map and outwards, off to the south a touch before moving southeast diagonally onto the eastern side of the map and off. So we have two MSRs. Well, one MSR, right? This is just a road. It is worth noting this road, though, as this is quite a long LDA here. You could have forces positioned here, which could inflate all the way down this road. Use it as kind of a counter-slope defense. You can position forces on either side, even from a V-shaped ambush. So these kinds of LDAs are iffy. Okay, so as far as other major terrain features are concerned, we have a mountain upon the northern side of the map here, so northeastern side. This is effectively the dominant piece of terrain, right? This can observe the entirety of the map. Minus the trees, I can actually see some of my troops down there. If we were to use combat mission mechanics, but we do that, I believe. No, it's also night, by the way. I had that on. Here's the button. There we go. So yes, this is a heavily dominant piece of terrain. You can observe my troops through these trees. Okay. To turn on the artificial brightness again, as this is somewhat dark. Okay. So apart from this mountain, we have this ridge line upon the northwestern side of the map, correction, which enemy forces could be positioned. This is a fine position which to observe the area below them. I can kind of get good eyes here. We might have forces positioned just generally within this hill. So apart from that, we have this very kind of ominous open field here with a hill upon the northern side, and we move back a bit. So that's supposed to be the north. That's actually the east now. It's a shame. Never mind then. Anyways, that asides, so it's actually the southeastern side over there. Now then, also have an additional hill here, right? So other positions in which you could observe that open field ODA, as we call it, open danger area, and possibly down into this LDA on that side that we talked about. So right now, if I were the enemy first, we're looking at some dug-in positions here, which is going to be the primary patrol base, and we may have, on top of this, some light screening first, kind of conducting some firm presence operation, either upon this LDA, maybe this LDA as set up ambushes intended to act as LPOPs, conducting opportunity attacks as necessary, with additional forces kind of possibly out upon other bits of key terrain. We have this hill over here. This is a good spot on which troops are. And you have this piece of dominant terrain here. This is great as well. This is actually a fantastic position. And you can kind of see things of that nature about. As we kind of look at the terrain here, the NAI itself is kind of the low point, right? This is one of the lowest parts of the area in question, with the only exception being this area just south of it and that hill, but none of that can actually affect this space, right? So everything that matters here is above it. Minus that space. I've improved drawing, but if we look at this side, it's kind of the same. It's relatively even terrain with various hills, mountains around it. So starts off. Let's look at our first composition, right? So this is a platoon, a reconnaissance, U.S. Army reconnaissance platoon. So we have our HQ and 3 reconnaissance elements, 2 of which are going to be your classic. These are actually fire teams in this case. That's interesting. Oh no, we're screwed. That's a squad. Anyways, okay, apparently we have access to a squad, so squads are even simpler. So in this case we have, I was confused by this being an HQ element because it's platoon HQ with 1 dude, which is, okay, so he's your SL then. Anyways, this is a squad then with MG support. Oh no, sorry, a sniper team attached with the MG. Whatever. Anyways, that aside, so this is a somewhat interesting first composition for a squad here. So we're looking at 3 teams, right? That's standard. Indeed, Marines can be used within reconnaissance and or SL, right? So 3 teams. That's going to consist of your team leader, a assistant. I'm not quite sure with that one, but typically you'd have a SAW within these teams. SAW, rifleman, grenadier, and anti-tank rifleman. And they actually have a 240 as well. Jesus Christ. Get another 203 ATL, tons of rifles, and AT. Okay. So these 2 are identical, and then we have access to a 240 here, and an additional sniper team attached. Nice. Okay, so it is somewhat, okay, yeah. It's reasonably traditional, ignoring the fact that we just have a 240 here with these, so you're looking at your 2 assault elements. So you have your first team, second team, and your MG team, and then we have a sniper team attached. They're kind of in a cigar-shaped alt here, almost a versus observing both directions. It's going to be a 12 o'clock. MG is on the 3 and 9, or, well, if you can consider a sniper team MG. Okay, so based on this and our current position, we're going to need to conduct a bit of planning, right? So we have a lake off to our southeast. It's going to be our NAI. So we want to find routes of movement that will allow us to conduct observation of that position. So we could either move, as I see it, we could move east, continue east through this bit of terrain here, observe this area off to, again, our east, further east, move up to this hill here and possibly position troops upon the side here, conduct short-range reconnaissance. We could establish an ORP approximately within this position, then kick out one of our recon teams out into this position, continue moving versus out here through the low ground, if necessary, and move them up, all the way up here into this high ground, conduct reconnaissance from this angle, and simultaneously shift an additional team out onto this side. We could even break them off now. Just looking at what sight lines look like, see where we can maneuver them. We might actually want to bring them up on this side here. Worried about this hill, so this seems most reasonable, like over in this area. Keep them in the low ground here, and then conduct reconnaissance from this position on the near side of the lake, or possibly bring them out further through this low ground out here, and see if we can get eyes on. I guess, let's see. See if we can find good angles. We might actually need to push troops up into these positions close. See what we can do with long-range reconnaissance here, because this may work out. We could probably get 2 dudes up here, get eyes on. So this is looking like our ORP here. We're going to have scouting elements shifting out into this position, and somewhere along this side of the surge line, we're going to be looking in, trying to observe from a distance. If that does not work out for us, which it may not, we may shift our forces in, send out a second element to recon this area, while the other element moves back, reports in, and essentially just establishes security and waits for that second reconnaissance element to do what it needs to do. The one issue we are going to have is the fact that we can't split teams. So we're going to be relying on actual full scout teams rather than 2-man elements, which is tragic, as I would much rather a small force here. The SEM-110 team is going to be key. It's going to be our primary reconnaissance element, along with one of these 2 teams. We're probably going to assign the first team to reconnaissance, so these 2 are going to be our main reconnaissance element. These 3 are going to be holding down the fort, and this team's going to be pushing out at the end for their final reconnaissance. So as of now, we're looking at honestly, this position's kind of reasonably fine for an ORP. I believe that is the ORP. Shift up here, and this can act as our RP release point from which we can then kick out our actual reconnaissance elements. Yeah, that should do. Okay, let's get started. So, first thing I'm immediately going to do is tell all these guys to be quiet. Please hold. Respond. There we go. Okay, cool. So if they see anything close, they can't engage that, that's fine. We don't want them blasting things in the distance without sensibility. Now then. First thing we're going to do is take our security elements, turn this into a 3-sided haunt. Again, we're not looking at any enemy forces outside of the AO, so we're going to want to bring our first reconnaissance element, this team, and our SL. So we're effectively going to leave these guys here. It may actually be better. We still want to keep this position. It'll make it easier to shift over. So we're taking these 2 elements and our SL across. These 2 folks are going to stay here. We can shift these dudes up into... Now we can leave them observing the road here. And these guys are fine. They have good... Well, they have terrible fields of fire, actually. Let's bring them up. Walk up to that position, leave these dudes here. So these guys are mostly worried about whatever comes from that direction, we're going to assume most of this is going to be cleared given the fact that we're pushing this element up in this direction. So they're just holding down the fort here to make sure we aren't flanked or something bad happens in this direction, but barring that, we're going to begin maneuvering these elements. So we take our first team here. We might do something a bit unique here. So I want the sniper team in the front in this case. Because I want a small element to our immediate front. So they're going to be rocking forwards straight through this straight line. Stop them here for a second. Oh. Stay kind of in the low ground here. Just going to cross this. This is heavily vegetated. I'm not too worried here. Stay in that tree line. Move upwards in this direction. And stop right there. Okay, that's reasonable. This team is going to wait 10 seconds, let them get ahead. Give them 15. Some distance between these elements. Take the same route, stop these dudes out here. Oh. Okay, that should do it. Give him a 10th 5 there. And you can pause for 5. Okay. That's 15. That's none. Okay, that should do it. Cool. So we're just starting by pushing these units up. Alright, so I'm going to move our primary scouting team, which are these dudes, sniper team, and our SL all the way up into this position. Okay, let's do it. Okay, so we do want to add a bit of distance to these elements, which we do not have. So we're actually going to give these dudes like a full 45-second pause. This dude a 30-second pause. Let's make that almost a minute. So let him stop for that turn. Or let the sniper team get ahead here. I need even longer. You just keep waiting. It's probably going to take a minute 30. another 10, and you keep going. Alright. Should do it. Just trying to spread these dudes out. Combat mission mechanics make it a bit rough. Not the best with this game's controllers. Still getting used to it, but trying to define things reasonably well here. So the sniper is rocking an M110. It's pretty sensible. So I'm going to cut that down to another, probably 15 seconds. That should do it. So movement takes time. We're not going to first need to sit through all of this. You're just going to keep moving into positions as we expected. This is going fine. We've gotten that spacing. Can actually remove that pause. You're good to go. Cool. And we can just get these dudes up into positions. Just give them a minute. Get to see anything, we're just trying to get up here. It's very exciting. Okay, so these dudes are almost set. They should all probably be set about now, yeah. You're headed up, and you're in position. Cool. So our boys have gotten together. They're good to go. We got to the point we wished them to. So we're going to take these dudes and move them up onto this hill to act as our first means of reconnaissance. I might have my SL do that, so it's only one man. So these guys are going to stay down here for now, and we're just going to pop him up and into position. He's going to curl himself up onto this side of the hill. See if we can get eyes on. Can we get you, like, in a more sensible position? Yeah, that should be better. So, bring him up, and then curl him over. Cool. And give him a target arc so it looks in the correct direction. Should be that way. You dudes can stay down here. Let's set that target arc so you know where to look. And that target arc for you. Okay. Yep, so they've shifted themselves to in this direction. So we wanted them to. He's moving up and into position. These guys are looking out into the vast distance. See, can't really see much, but you know what? That'll do. He will have reasonable eyes in this position, though, so we'll see how that goes. Give him another few minutes here to get into position, get it done. Everything takes time. You have to be patient. So I don't know if you can actually see anything good here. Maybe just might be able to see something if we put him on the other side of the hill here. Because right now, I don't know. He's kind of just looking into trees. Let's take him. Put him on the hill. Like an absolute mad lad. He shouldn't actually stand on the peak of the hill if I do this, and well, if he does, I don't know what to say. Let's hope he doesn't. Ideally, you do not want to place yourself on a hill in such an obvious fashion, but I would like to get a good angle of observation here. So, do what we have to. Yep, see. He's placing himself reasonably. Yeah, that's exactly where I wanted him initially. Okay. We'll give him time. He's going to keep looking in that direction. See if he can see anything. Let's look at his target arcs. Can you? Yeah, he's good eyes. I'm happy with that. Okay. As he's just chilling, we're going to start bringing these folks up. So let's switch that target arc to that and move you up. Keep them in the low ground here so they can't be observed. Push them up into this tree line here. We're going to take a few seconds in this position. 10 there. Should be reasonably safe thus far. Start moving into this forest. So, about that position I want to conduct a little halt. See if I can hear anything on the other side before we continue moving. Give them about 30 seconds. Bring them onto the back side of the hill here. Minding anything out in this field. I think that should do for now. Try that position, move from there as necessary. Again, we kind of want to, here, for this section I actually want to push them back a bit so they stay in this hill and keep that tree line between them and the enemy position. I'd rather them be in this field than out in the open, or what's seemingly the open. Yeah, that's better. Because we kind of want to make a hooking motion, start coming out and then back in onto the enemy. So you can't see us moving right to left from their position. Okay. So that's going to happen as he waits here, tries to get some eyes on. Oh, okay. So we've made a positive contact. There we go. Now we're talking. So this is a BRDM. It's a weird looking BRDM with a tire on it. Nice hat, I suppose. Okay, so we've observed one enemy vehicle. Reconnaissance is functional. Awesome. Just going to keep giving the recon some time. Let them keep moving out. I'm going to pull him from his position in the next 5 minutes here. The enemy has an approximately 0% chance of seeing one dude on a hill with trees in his way, so he's fine. It's also very easy to shift them back and then get the heck out. I actually might have the objectives off. Hold on. I don't know what the button is. On. Oh. This is the old copy. I have set this up with objectives. So we're shifting these folks into position. Keep letting them do their thing. Okay, we've made it. So they don't have any great eyes at the moment. Great. Keep moving. Okay, we've seen possible enemy infantry. They've sworn they saw something. But as of now, that's our only confirmed contact. I sense that these folks are about to do great things for us. So now we can kind of bring them up into that final position. kind of patchy. Yeah, it's not great. Tell you what. See if we can get them in a better position. How is this position before I even do that? Terrible. Okay, so we're going to take these paths here and keep bringing them around this way a bit so we can get them close to that side of the hill, and then we bring them in and up onto the hill. And that is significantly more reasonable. We may actually see something with that. Okay, we'll do that. Keep that position for another minute here. And if we don't see anything, I think it's reasonable to call that off. So you can come back down before he gets spotted. And bring him over to pull security on that side. Okay, so we're seeing that BRDM again. They love spotting the BRDM. We're running out of time for this first. I have another minute slated for them before we have to bring them back. So let's see if they see anything else. Okay, that's not going to work out then. So we're going to have to get a bit more drastic in our measures if we actually want to see anything. So these dudes are going to have to, unfortunately, come back, come around, come through this ground, and come back over on this side. Nice positions on this side of the slope, and we'll see how that goes. So they're just coming back around and doing another clover leaf to put themselves in a better position. While that's happening, I think we're going to have to come back. Yeah, I don't want to do that right now. So now time is the actual issue, right? We can do everything, but we can't do it all at once. Okay, here's the plan. We're going to over-occupy the RP, which isn't a great idea, but I think that's our best solution at the moment. Do that, and then bring these in. And then we're going to immediately kick them out of the RP after reporting in. And have them come around on the far side, so they're actually kind of looping back. Right. Around on the far side here, stay in the low ground. and off they go. We're actually going to speed these dudes up. Reasonably safe, all things considered. And go. Just need to speed up that movement a touch. So I should note that we have constantly possessed the ability to immediately create a support by fire position on this hill here, if necessary, to suppress the enemy to allow this first spray contact if that were to happen. So this isn't being done without thought. We are still trying to mitigate risk, and we always have our murder support as well, right? We have those 81mm shells, which we can use. We may call that in at the end. Just to take out that BRDM on a point target, or something of that nature. Okay, so we're seeing the BRDM again, right? That was reasonably expected. Why don't we have it? Well, that could have been bad. They have target arcs, so they don't kill something. They're either blind or like to stay blind, I don't know. We'll see. They may or may not see something. They're headed out. Should get there about in time. These bastards can't see across the lake. I'm going to be somewhat pissed. And I'm going to have to give them a 1 minute break as well, because they're knackered. Lovely. Yep, they're just going to have to chill for a bit. Okay. What can you guys see? Like, what's happening here? Well, I'm afraid they're going to have to come back. Okay, they're just going to hang out there for a few minutes. They're quite tired. So there is some enemy infantry there. We know that much. Don't know what they look like, but they exist, I swear. If anyone's going to be able to see any of that, it's going to be this first we have here. So they found the BRDM again. That's a shocker. Okay, we're going to bring command back up. Here, the SL is going to get back on his favorite hilltop. And do that. So we can call in that 81mm barrage. A little bit further, folks. Just a little bit further. Bingo. Okay. What did we find? They're looking the incorrect direction, so that's nice. Is there anything else, though? Could we see over this hill? No. I'll give them 1 more minute in that position. They're still not quite ready. Okay, well, you're going to have to pull back out. We have 3 more minutes for reconnaissance, so is there anything else we can do with these folks before we have to leave? I don't think so. So, since we're at the 3-minute mark, we need to call these poison. Just giving them the position, right? So, strike vehicle to go with heavy, quick. Doesn't really matter here. Use generator for this one. Go. And you guys, or you can't see much else. Time to back up. So we know where that enemy first is. I'm assuming there's something over here, and I do want to find it. That's about all I can do with those dudes, though. So they have to come back and reassume security for them. I suppose we could send out one of our scout teams again, so sniper team seems most reasonable. So I don't want to go straight through this field. I'm going to move them around up in this direction. And hopefully not straight into the enemy position. That would be insane. About you here on the other side of the enemy position. And then car them up. About there. Well, with us having 3 minutes left, it's doubtful that I could actually do any of this in time, but, you know, we could give it a shot. It's a combat mission. It's now very dark. So yeah. That's all we have for defined time. We're into a variable time now. So we're giving these guys a minute to try this out. See if they can do it. If they can't, they can't. Let's see it, folks. It's your last second here.
Shot, over.
Nothing. Okay, that's it. That's all I wanted. So, we know that's an enemy position. Good. That's just the confirmation I wanted, and now we are going to head the heck out. And back over to our main first. Please reassume your target, Eric. Thank you. And go.
Fire for effect. Out.
So that vehicle should get smoked. I'm not seeing the vehicle getting smoked. Guys, what's happening here? Gotta love 60 millimeter mortars here. 61 millimeter. Jesus Christ, they're very effective. Well, no, these are actually 81. 61 doesn't exist. Who am I talking about? Whatever. Let's make that. Yeah, we could just dump some ammo on this. Doesn't really matter now.
Fire mission.
What the heck? Now we're just waiting, right? We have our dudes in positions to actually bring these dudes back. Hopefully this vehicle is going to eat it. I swear to God, if you don't hit the damn thing... Hey, that should do it. There we go. Okay, that's done. Jesus Christ, that is wildly inaccurate. Alright, that'll do it. So now it's time to get the heck out. Shift command back. Bring these dudes over. We're going to start exiting from this side. Taking the same route back. Nothing's really changed in that regard. Dumping these guys off here in their old position. SL is going to follow. And these folks. And these folks. Okay, done. Cool. So we've reached the time limit prior to being able to exfiltrate, but all things considered, we did reasonably. We have conducted a reconnaissance. Everyone is fine, good to go. We have eliminated their BRDM, confirmed the enemy's position, and executed everything nicely without anyone dying. That's what matters. So, let's see what the enemy first actually looked like. Okay. So this is interesting. So the actual enemy first is what we expected. We have the BRDM, we have a command element who took a casualty, injured dude over here in that position, which we had spotted. We have a recon squad here, which we'd spotted as well, so we spotted both of those elements. And then one more final squad out here, just in the woods, chilling. We did not see them. It's kind of a triangular patrol base here, so that's quite traditional, right? This is very, very typical in a centralized command element. I don't know what the BRDM was doing in the open, but it was there, so yeah. It's just a very basic triangular position. There are missing elements in the actual sides of it, though, which is concerning, but so be it. These are actual squads, just unsplit, so be it. Okay, we have a recon team up here. What are these folks doing? Appears they're conducting some ambush or something of that nature. Or they're observing the road. It's a bit short range, doesn't it? Okay, so they were performing some observation on this MSR we were talking about. There's nothing down here, which just kind of surprises me. I was expecting some enemy first over here or something of that nature, possibly on this side, in V-shape, close ambush, or maybe out here, versus on either side. These positions, maybe an L-shaped ambush on this space. This does create a nice L. It appears we have an anti-tank team here, yeah, with an AT-4. Observing this ODA. This is why we don't touch ODAs. And they have a platoon HQ here. Odd. So yes, this would not have been fun. That has pretty good eyes, all things considered. Yeah. Make it... Well, we've done it. That's all I have.